When my grandmother passed away, I felt an emptiness I wasn't prepared for. She had been the bedrock of our family, a constant presence who taught me patience, resilience, and how to face life with grace. Her death was not unexpected, but knowing something is coming doesn't always soften the blow. The world around me continued to spin as it always had, yet I found myself feeling like a stranger within it, unable to understand how things could carry on so normally without her here. I went through stages of disbelief, sadness, and even anger, feeling unmoored. In those raw days, I found myself revisiting Stoic teachings, not because I thought they would solve my grief, but because they offered a way to navigate it meaningfully. The words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus seemed to echo through the sadness, guiding me to accept my grief without being consumed by it. I realized that Stoicism doesn't deny grief, but instead offers a way to embrace it, make peace with it, and ultimately grow from it. Here's how these principles help me and how they can help others dealing with the weight of loss. 1. Embrace reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is to see things as they are without getting trapped in our desires for them to be otherwise. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." When dealing with grief, this means coming to terms with the fact that loss is a natural, inevitable part of life. After my grandmother's death, I found myself constantly wishing that things were different, that I could see her one more time, hear her laugh, or hold her hand. But these wishes were not grounded in reality. They were just a source of pain. By reminding myself to accept her passing as a part of the natural cycle, I was able to slowly release that sense of resistance, which helped me start to heal. Stoicism taught me that we don't need to agree with or even like the events that happen to us, but we can choose to accept them. Through acceptance, I found a small measure of peace. 2. Focus on what is within your control. One of the most comforting aspects of Stoicism is its emphasis on focusing only on what we can control. Epictetus famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." With grief, this principle was invaluable. I couldn't control the fact that my grandmother was gone, nor could I control the timing or the circumstances of her passing. What I could control, however, was how I would remember her, honor her legacy, and move forward. I chose to respond by focusing on the good memories and the lessons she taught me, rather than being fixated on her absence. Instead of getting lost in regrets or unresolved feelings, I made a conscious effort to live out her values, like compassion and patience. By focusing on these things, I was able to channel my grief into something constructive. This small shift in perspective gave me a sense of agency, reminding me that while I couldn't change her death, I could control how it influenced me. 3. Practice amor fati, love of fate. Amor fati, or love of fate, is another Stoic concept that encourages us to embrace everything that happens as a necessary and valuable part of our journey. This doesn't mean we have to celebrate pain or loss, but rather that we should try to accept them as meaningful experiences that shape who we are. At first, the idea of loving my fate, especially one that involved the pain of losing someone, felt impossible. How could I love something so painful? But I came to understand that it wasn't about loving the loss itself. It was about finding gratitude in what that person's life added to mine and viewing even the grief as a testament to that relationship. I began to see my grief as a reflection of the love and connection we shared, a reminder of how deeply someone can shape our lives. In embracing that, I found a way to keep her spirit alive within me. 4. Practice memento mori, remembering our mortality. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on the concept of memento mori, or the reminder that we, too, will one day die. This is not meant to be a morbid fixation, but rather a way to inspire us to live fully, knowing that life is fleeting. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day, The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. Losing my grandmother reminded me of my own mortality and the impermanence of everyone and everything I love. This perspective, instead of filling me with despair, actually made me more appreciative of the time I have with others. I learned to live more fully in the present, savoring moments with family and friends, and expressing gratitude while they're still here. Memento Mori helps us realize that every goodbye could be the last, encouraging us to live in a way that will have fewer regrets. 5. Reflect and grow from the experience. Stoicism encourages self-reflection as a way to improve ourselves continuously. After my grandmother's death, I began a routine of reflecting on her influence in my life, the values she instilled in me, and how I could carry those forward. I journaled about my grief and about the life lessons she taught me, and in doing so, I started to see how my experience could make me a stronger, more compassionate person. This process of reflection turned my grief from something overwhelming into something transformative. In this way, Stoicism doesn't erase pain, but gives it purpose. We become better, more resilient, and perhaps a little wiser each time we face loss. Reflecting on what we have learned allows us to carry forward something valuable, even from painful experiences. In summary, grief is deeply personal, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach to dealing with it. Stoicism offers a compassionate, practical framework that allows us to accept the pain, focus on what we can control, and find growth in the process. Through acceptance, gratitude, and a focus on our own actions, we can honor those we've lost while continuing to live fully in the present. In this way, we turn grief from a source of suffering into a source of strength, carrying forward the love and wisdom of those who have left us in everything we do. Have you ever applied these Stoic steps when dealing with a loss? Or is there a Stoic concept that speaks to you when it comes to resilience?